Hey, welcome everybody to podcast number 57, presented by 5-Pin Universe. I'm your host, Kerry Kreitz. We got Tim and Dexter Wiseman and Adam Weber with us. And our special guest of the week is Kelsy Wilton, the better Wilton, we'll call her.
Thank you.
Kelsy, thank you very much for joining us. You've been a mainstay on the WCB Tour for quite a few years, and obviously Masters competitor, Open competitor in Calgary for quite a few years as well. And thanks for joining us in Alberta, moving from BC a few years ago.
Yeah, not sure they were happy about that, but that's okay.
Alberta's gain.
Yeah. So I guess our first topic, since it affects 4 out of the 5 people here, how do you guys feel about the Masters cancellation of the Nationals?
It was tough. I'd be lying if I say I'm not disappointed. Not like we didn't have an idea that this could happen, but it's definitely disappointing. It was definitely hard making those phone calls last week, letting everybody know that this wasn't a thing. I get it. It's hard. Travel out to Newfoundland is difficult to begin with. There are limited hotels that can accommodate an event that size, and there's just a lot of uncertainty and a lot of risk, I suppose, if we let this go on too long, and all these organizations lose deposits and stuff like that. And I wish it wasn't a thing. I feel horrible for people like Bobby Kite, like we said last week, when this might be a possibility, and Robbie Wolfson, I feel absolutely terrible for.
Well, and Larissa Long too, right? Rookie year too.
She had a phenomenal year.
She played awesome.
Yeah, she did.
I mean, it sucks for us, but we've all been there a few times. But it's those people that I feel awful for. So it's unfortunate, but I don't know what else we could do.
I think it's the right move. It was coming eventually. As much as we all want to just postpone, it does get to that point, especially on the far East Coast, where everything, all the logistics is just a nightmare compared to even the majority of the other provinces that are out there. So yeah, I think we all knew it was coming. I like yourself, Dex. I feel really bad for Robbie, especially Bobby, of course, Larissa, of course. I feel bad for Timmy, right? To have another crack at it. It's so difficult to make it out of this province, and to have that kind of taken away. And but the good solace and the conversations I've had with pretty much everybody is we're still provincial champions. They can't take that part of it away. So at least there's some good that came out of it. But that definitely stings. For myself, I don't know how many shots I got left, right? So you just want to get there as many times as you can get there.
Yeah, that's we had a few conversations back and forth through Masters, and one that was really important to me was we had a chat about the Master shirts, and I wanted to make sure that those still got made up. Because I mean, like for us, that's our trophy. You go to Nationals, you get a shirt, and that's about it. And then hopefully a medal at Nationals if you play well. But I wanted to make sure that happened, and I also wanted to make sure things that because we finished, and I'm still glad that we were adamant on finishing it. But because we were finished, it will count towards qualifying for Nationals. So Timmy. From my understanding, anyways, Timmy will get his 5 years, because he made it. He would be there. So, I'm glad that those things are happening, and I'm still glad that like I said, I'm still glad that we pushed and finished. One of the biggest logistics with this is trying to get all the other organizations to be done on time, and they just I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I'm assuming they were having a hard time finding logistics of that too. So. It's unfortunate, but Bobby, when I called Bobby had a pretty good idea what was going on, and he's like, it could be way worse. We we're still alive and we're safe, and like lots of people are losing a whole lot more than a weekend for a bowling tournament, but it just means so much to a lot of people. So, but
Yeah.
we're still doing okay.
I'm honestly, I went through like a fit of rage right afterwards for a while. And then I went to I don't know. I have a different viewpoint on the whole thing. First and foremost, we must be safe and we must be able to host these things at a safe point. Obviously, I have other things and other associations that we're dealing with right now, and that could all change at any moment. I just really think that Newfoundland gave a little bit of a different. It was tougher in Newfoundland. I think it might have been able to postpone in another province. There's only a limited amount of hotels, limited amount of, and then travel, and I do think there was a little bit of an issue with the hotels, and I just think that the risk of booking another hotel and being able to cancel last minute might have been tough, and it comes down to dollars and cents on that. I think yeah, I don't know. It's a lot easier to postpone. Well, not you don't want to keep postponing, but it's a lot easier to cancel later if there is no issues with the hotel, and then try to bring something back up if it is everything magically gets better. Now, I don't think things will necessarily get better right away, and maybe it might be the fall, right? We don't know about that. You don't know about capacity or anything else like that. And I know Quebec has a thing where it says August 31st, you can't host anything in Quebec. Now, are you wanting to send your players outside Quebec and bring them back and get 2 weeks quarantine? If it's before August 31st, it's a tough call, right? It's a real tough call. Like you can't tell anybody to do that, right? And I think that probably was a big thing as well. When we qualified, I kind of deep down inside, I think we all understood that this could be an issue and this might happen. Do we want it to happen? No. Am I really, really bummed on not being able to get another silver medal? Probably. Probably, right? I might never ever have that opportunity again, but sometimes it's just not in the cards, right? And just kind of move on and try to do your best with that. It just, I guess cancellation is a big word, and when everything's so negative out there, you kind of want to hear postpone once, just to make a little bit positivity or a little bit of hope. But if you're gonna keep postponing and then you're still gonna give them the heartache later down the road, right? So I don't know what I don't know what the best solution was, and obviously theirs was cancel. I just personally wish that I felt bad for Masters of Canada. Just me personally speaking here, that some people didn't wait until they made the official announcement before they started posting other things. And then I know in Alberta, some people weren't notified yet, and they just were finding out on Facebook. And I thought that was really tough. And I felt bad for Dory and all the senior reps and Dexter and Aaron to make these phone calls, because it's not a great phone call to make. Right.
Yeah, but I'd still much rather make that phone call and have them find out a different way. It was
right.
hard.
And that's where my problem was with it. I didn't think it was fair to find out over some. No, our province was fine, but other provinces they found over Facebook.
Right, but I mean, we're fortunate in the fact that Brian is our president and the national president too. So I mean, we get our information probably a little bit faster than the other boards. And the hard part about Masters canceling is that kind of throws a hammer down at other organizations too down the road too. It's like, well, Masters is canceled, and we were the latest ones, right? So that makes it tough.
So Kelsey, what are your thoughts on it? Kind of, you qualified obviously on the last weekend as well. I know you didn't play a couple of tournaments, but obviously that's got to have some effect on you being on the Masters team as well.
I was pretty excited to go to Newfoundland, I'm not gonna lie. I think I was more excited too because Brad was finally gonna go to Newfoundland. He never got to, and now it's not gonna happen. So I'm not gonna to say that it's not shitty is a lie, but I also knew it was gonna come with everything happening. I do personally think they pulled the plug a little too soon. Things are changing hourly, even with the hospitals and everything. So I think because it's not till the end of June, I do think like it happened too soon, but also in the back of my mind, I knew it would happen. But at the same time, postponement potentially would have been better. I think like in the terms of like everyone losing all their tournaments and everything being pushed back and nothing happening, it's just so negative. And so for them to cancel it in April when they haven't even really fully made anything about the Open, it kind of was like a slap in the face. I'm sad, actually. I think more so for our rookies, especially like Larissa and Bobby and Rob. Like they won't get to experience that, and especially Newfoundland, like it probably was going to be really fun. So I mean, what can you do? You can't do anything. It's out of our control. And I understand deposits and all that stuff, don't get me wrong, but I do think personally it was a bit soon, especially when the hospitals and everything aren't even making decisions that far in advance. Do you know what I mean? But I mean, I get it. I do. I'm in a field where I should really understand the situation, but it's a bummer because everything is negative and you've had to cancel so many trips. And there's one thing you look forward to and then it's gone. So now what do we look forward to, you know? So it's just hard.
Yeah.
Do we know, did Newfoundland by any chance make like a quarantine restriction to a certain date and that had a large reflection on the decision, or?
There is no quarantine date that late by any means, no. So
you're just saying Quebec was all the way to August 31st.
Right, but not for
Calgary's
Newfoundland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not that. I mean, but June 30th is Calgary, I believe, right, Kelsey, right now?
Yes, June 30th is Calgary
so,
right now.
Yeah, so I mean,
for gatherings here.
Yeah, so I think Ontario's June 30th too, right? So Masters is that time. I just don't think would have worked out, whether postponing it. And if you want to take that risk, that's the...
Well, yeah, and I mean, I guess the biggest thing is like, you know, if we let it ride and it's all gonna work, and then you know, all of a sudden it's like a week before they push it back, and then everybody's like, oh no, right? I don't know. It's tough. I agree. I wish it wasn't done so early, but I'm not in the know of all the information, so I can't really make a judgment. I don't know.
Don't you find there's a little bit of confusion when it comes to postponements as well? Right? Or not necessarily confusion, just the more kind of that up in the air feeling, right? I at some point somebody's going to have to take a hard stance, and like you saw it in professional sports, right? NBA, you know, took that leap right away, and everybody kind of followed. Yeah. I would have liked to see, you know, maybe Masters hold on until maybe the Open, just with it being like a month ahead of, but realistically that's probably going to get, you know, postponed significantly later or canceled as well. I think it's just a matter of time, right? But it's just the nature of the beast for this sporting season, and hopefully we're just able to get back to normal, you know, coming, you know, September-ish.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Adam. But you know, honestly, I think the NBA and all that is two different ball games in a way.
Very much so.
You have international travel. I mean, the U.S. is a cesspool right now, and you don't want to go there. So I understood things like, you know, Wimbledon being canceled and all that, because nobody's going to be traveling internationally for a long time. Yeah. But I mean, when you're not, was it Air Canada and WestJet? It's not June 30th is when they're opening up again. I mean, they're not really taking any flights either.
Two non-essential flights, right?
Right. So I mean, that's another thing where you have to look at it. Yeah, it's not, you know, and I think there's that paranoia out there. And I'm not saying this is not a serious thing. It is very serious. Obviously, people's lives are being affected, and people are unfortunately passing away. But it's just that stigma. You just want to. It's people are scared, right? And I don't think that necessarily helps the situation as well. And I don't blame them for some people, right? I mean, it just makes sense. Like I said, we went to Safeway for the first time I did during this pandemic, and some guy's wearing his mask, and people are walking around, and it's like, you feel like you have anxiety walking around sometimes. And I'm like,
don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
That's why you're on here, Kels. You're supposed to get started on this.
But you
Tim,
have
how did you get to Safeway?
Dasher drove me.
Oh.
That's joke number 5 about me not driving in 2 days. So thank you, Kelsey.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We have a question here from Mark Miller about will the Masters Association of Alberta do something for those who have qualified for nationals for the potential 2020-21 season. Mark, I can't say as of yet. We haven't had a board meeting or anything. We've had some emails exchanged back and forth, but as of right now, we don't have a board meeting set up anytime soon because the one in May, we can't. I mean, it would have to be a video board meeting at this point. So as of right now, I can't say anything on that. I know Aaron and I have had some conversations back and forth, but that means nothing. So yeah, there you go.
Personally speaking, I just think you restart over next year, unfortunately.
Oh no, I totally agree, but that wasn't the conversation that Aaron and I had.
Okay.
It was more about like a not a subsidy, but like a cut rate or something, or pay for the lineage or something, just as a thank you, or I'm sorry sort of thing. But that was strictly a conversation between me and Aaron. So that's there's no decisions made on that at all.
I wonder if they'll do the Stetsons still, right? Because all those people earned those Stetsons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they might.
That's a good point.
I can't trade mine for a case of beer now.
Well, you can't. You just have to make it again next year.
Yes.
I did mention to Dex, and maybe it's something we can host at Sugar Bowl. Maybe get the Masters together and do a fun event, or maybe a night out or something like that. I like just especially for somebody like Larissa or Bobby or Rob to feel part of a team. If things were safe and time worked out, I don't know. I still think it's important to try to do something like that.
The other thing that I think we failed to mention about Masters is that Masters had a different demographic than the rest of the bowling or major bowling tournaments, right? I mean, the Open has, a large age range, but you don't have a specific age range just for seniors. And I think that's where Masters has a hard time as well. You have all of the, vulnerable people in one building. That makes it a little bit tougher.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, nobody washes their hands at bowling tournaments, so I mean you're just gonna spread it like crazy.
It changes the feel, right?
Decision. Oh stop! No, that's disgusting.
Don't want to change your grip.
Yeah, well, that's gross. Just wash your damn hands, Dexter.
Sit down, peas.
Thank you.
Hands free.
Teaching me right now to tuck it. Make sure you're tucking.
That's right. You just got to wiggle it around a little. You're good.
Just tuck it.
Dexter, you touched on it a little bit earlier. Chris, I think, is just reiterating the question. Will the qualifiers still receive national shirts?
From my understanding, yes.
For Alberta, at least.
For Alberta, yes. We have taken that stance, and we voted on that. That we will be, so yes. Because, like I said, that's our trophy.
I was gonna say I already paid for it. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So moving on for, I guess, hopefully a lighter note. So the WCBT also announced this week that they are going to do a postponement of the Heritage Traditional till August 6th to the 9th, which was the original Tour Championship weekend. And then the Tour Championship is going to move 3 weeks later to the 29th and get all wrapped up in August. All things considered, hopefully it all goes. What are your guys' thoughts on them moving everything this early in April?
I think it was a good decision. You can't, nothing is opening, and I don't even think Stampede's going to happen here, if I'm fully honest. So I think end of August and beginning of August, it should be a safe bet. Now, I don't know how many numbers they will allow to open up right away. That I don't know, but I do think it was, a smarter decision to move things to August to be safer bet. I don't know how many people will be able to go to those tournaments though, because I don't know if they'll allow flying or what the stipulations will be, but I guess you'll find out closer to.
Yeah, I think that was a big part of the decision too, is like we have no idea about travel restrictions or anything of that sort by then. So if all things go, let's say Alberta decides that they're going to allow the 50 max person per event or per gathering or whatever. I wonder if Heritage would consider running 6 shifts of 40 people or something to that sort to help reduce the amount of people inside the building.
Yeah, I mean, if they have to do it, they have to do it,
Mhm.
right? I mean, it doesn't really make a difference whether that's taken away from open play at that time too, because if they're doing that, it's because of the numbers of body and numbers of people, and it's really irrelevant. So,
Mhm.
but I mean, you can make shifts happen real fast,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but then everybody has to leave. You bowl your shift,
That's exactly.
bowl your shift,
No
get
one
out
can
of the
stay
building.
behind.
You're yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Actually, would have to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it'd be really unique. But hey, we'll
Off
see how it
sales go
goes.
through the roof.
Yeah,
Parking lot booze, man. It was,
yeah. And it'll be August. It'll be August, and that's gonna be like full Scottsdale.
Yeah.
yeah, good old Scottsdale. Yeah.
So from a business standpoint, would that make any sense for Heritage to have 30, 40 people in the building, and then basically once the shift's over, you get out and there's no food sales, no beer sales? Like, does that make any sense for them?
Obviously it doesn't, but they're sacrificing that weekend to that tournament anyways. So they're going to be looking at a reduction in sales. But let's say they don't run the tournament. Your open play is only allowed to have 50 as well.
It'd be the same. Yeah.
It's the
It would
same
be the
issue.
same,
It's
yeah.
the same. They're still going to see a reduction in sales anyways, even if it was an open play weekend. Obviously not to the extent the tournament is, but they're sacrificing it either way or another, right?
Yeah.
Well, they'd have to lift the physical distancing rule too, because you can't actually technically bowl with two people in the pit. Technicality, you need to be 2 meters apart. So they have to lift that in order for things to happen as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that'll have to hit. Obviously, like the later in the year, the better. But the main thought behind doing the August thing is obviously the WCBT wants to wrap up before next bowling season, especially before next Thanksgiving when you're going to hit full stride into the next bowling season, hopefully. So in order to give that lead time, and then there's production value that needs to be done after the Tour Championship. So you need some time so you can release it before the Thanksgiving weekend. And there's just so much that goes into it. And I think it was kind of the best of any option that was out there.
Well, it was an option, right? And you had to try something. So I'm interested now. From my understanding, and it's going to go the same. I'm like I was saying, I was talking earlier to my to some people. Is that one shift might be what most people might be doing, depending on cash, right? And you know what? If they're still coming out, it's still pretty awesome that they want to do that. My worry would be, and I hope they still run it, and I hope it's still successful. Is the Thursday night, right? I mean, Thursday night would be real, right? Might be real tough on that aspect, but the rest of the events, I think, will make itself work out. I just don't think you're going to maybe not a lot of out of towners. You might, unfortunately, instead of having 240, which I think you would have got there, you might only get maybe 130, right? If you're lucky, right? So
if you're lucky, it might beat only Alberta players.
Right.
Yeah.
And that'd be sad. But you know what? I kudos to Shelby, and Tweedy and the rest of the group who wants to put this forward, because at least they're committed, and at least they didn't postpone or cancel right away and try to figure an alternative solution on something.
Well, it's a positive to look forward to, right?
Yeah.
So
people are wanting to
helps.
play. People are wanting to play.
Yep.
Now, when the second wave comes, I don't know what will happen with that either. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're supposed to be locked up for 18 months because that's what Trudeau tells me. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Good thing is at least it gives us 3 months grace, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Then that's the other thing, Kelsey. I'm really worried about the second wave on a bowling standpoint for business. Is like, how is league going to work if we have a second wave come by? We get shut down again. It's a little bit nerve wracking, and whether they open up the amount of people you were allowed to have at a certain time, social distancing. I don't know what's going to happen with that, right? And who knows? Maybe in 6 months when we're talking about this, maybe we don't have the center to bowl in anymore. None of us, right? So, right? You just don't know.
Yeah, they're saying the second wave will come October, November, which is our regular flu season that we would typically have. Now, I don't know if they'll continue with the same physical distancing or if they'll go to shutting down everything again to contain it. I have no idea. But I kind of feel like people should just let them get sick to a point that you can just deal with it and move on, essentially, because it's coming. It's in community. You can't stop it. It is what it is. It's essentially what it is. So
Create the
Yeah,
antibodies and move on.
Mhm.
But
Or get
Yeah.
that damn vaccine out so we can just get it and move on. Give
Yeah.
it to the high risk population so that they can recover and are people who are healthier. So if they get it, it's not as big of a risk. So it's very, so many questions, no answers.
like literally no answers. Yeah.
Oh, trust me, we get that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, hopefully they get the vaccine out sooner than later, and then we don't have to worry about COVID-19 anymore. It'll be COVID 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
As those wet markets keep running in China, I don't know if we'll ever
Right?
escape this situation. But
Oh, Contagion. Just watch Contagion. You'll learn to wash your hands.
it was
That's
number
what it
one,
is.
number one on Netflix in Canada for a couple
That
weeks
and
there.
pandemic. That
Yeah.
and the
Weird.
pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's true though. It's exactly what's happening.
Absolutely.
So do you guys ever think that it'll become commonplace where everybody will be wearing the masks in public,
Well,
or
honestly,
if it will become mandated?
yeah, I think so, and not because like I wanted, but I mean, look at New York, and now New York, like Tim said, New York is a cesspool. Like that place is just swimming in COVID, and it's been mandated now to wear masks. So
The problem with masks is everyone has to wear the mask for the mask to be protective. If you wear a mask, it is not, you're not protecting yourself, you're protecting other people from you. So if I'm wearing a mask and you aren't Dexter, then I'm not protected from you. I'm
Yeah.
protected, right? So everyone has to wear a mask if they're going to implement, for everyone to be essentially to contain droplets. But if one person isn't, then you're not protecting nothing.
Right.
And also too, with us at the hospital, when we are having we call it aerosolized, so if we're suctioning or anything, the droplets are in the air, we have to wear goggles as well because they can get in your eyes. So again, if you don't have full equipment, then it's honestly null and void. And gloves, please do not wear goddamn gloves. Take your goddamn gloves off. Do not wear them. It just is so annoying when people don't. You are just creating a bigger mess.
I am
Just
gonna wear-
sanitize and wash your damn hands. Do not. I will slap you with your goddamn hand, with your gloves. I will do it.
I'm gonna wear swimming
I will
goggles from
visit
now
you.
on. Every time I
Okay,
see you,
I
I'm
would
gonna
be
be
okay
wearing
with that.
swimming goggles.
Please, and a mask.
Nope.
Get a mask too,
Nope.
just to complete it.
Just
No?
the goggles.
Just the goggles.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll make sure I cough on you.
I was waiting for Kelsey to hit on the beard, get rid of the beard. It's just a cesspool.
Oh yeah, no. Also, Dexter, stop texting my husband. It is a cesspool. It is not cool.
Ah, well, whatever.
Hey.
You got hair in your head?
Yeah, but I washed it. You washed your damn beard?
Absolutely, I
I
do.
doubt that.
I bet
Did
you
wash
I
it
wash
after
my
every
beard
meal?
more often than you wash
it
your
after
hair.
Every meal? I bet you don't.
Do you wash your hair every day?
No.
Yeah, so yeah. Winner.
Yeah, well, do you wash it after every meal when you eat because that's where the germs are?
No.
Didn't think so. Thank you. I still win. Always winning.
It doesn't matter. As long as if we're social
I know.
distancing, I could grow a beard as much as I want. And so can your husband. And
Well,
that's
that's
it
right.
looks
So I don't
great.
no, because I have to see that. I have to see
That-
that. And you know why?
you're a
he did
lucky
it?
lady.
To piss me off. Not. And you know what? He had no intentions of that damn beard because of you, Dexter.
He is a sexy man.
Yeah, well, I'm glad one person thinks so.
I think Robbie is right. This is turning into 5-Pin After Dark. You're right, Derek Holm. It's unless we're walking around in hazmat suits, I don't see this mask wearing thing gonna slow anything down. So Daryl Bradley had a question. He said, would the schedule for the WCB Tour finals be the same, I'm assuming, as last year, the Gallagher Cup and everything? Or perhaps we do a new national team event that weekend to bring more people to the event. Of course, assuming that all the quarantine is lifted, there's no travel restrictions or anything like that. I think the WCBT stance I hope I can speak on their behalf, at this point in time will remain to be the same. The whole idea is to promote the single competitors on tour for the Tour Championship. But the Gallagher Cup was to bring everybody together. So maybe there will be a new national team event for the Gallagher Cup. We expand on it or something like that, maybe in the future. But I can't see that happening this year for sure.
I don't think that it's this year thing to do. I mean, maybe in the future for sure, but the thing about us running the Tour Finals this year is like having 12 competitors or 20 competitors for the Gallagher Cup, plus film crew, a couple of staff, aka Tim. It'll be at least our numbers are low enough that if there is still a capacity limit, then it's still able to run. We don't really have. We wouldn't be able to do that with a national team event, right? You're gonna want more than 30 people in the building. So I don't think it's a this year thing, but we're always evolving, right, Kerry?
Yeah.
Yep, sure. This is WCBT is looking at growing, and hopefully with Winnipeg, hopefully they're able to run in December. If this thing takes longer, like they're really hoping to get this first year under their belt so they can be a part of the tour and stuff like that. There's a lot hanging on this, not only in just the bowling industry, but obviously that's what we're focusing on this podcast. So take it how it is. We're hopefully going to be positive, and this thing will end sooner than later. I know the press conference today, the doctor on there was stating that she said it wasn't peaked yet. It may be slowing down, but we haven't reached peak yet. So who knows how much longer this will last.
I'm sorry to interrupt you guys. I do have to mention somebody did text me, and for $50, I'm supposed to say moistly. So thank you, Adam. You can transfer me right to my pocket. Thank you. So
that is 5-pin universe funds. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah,
So.
right back in the podcast.
So one thing Robert had put in the chat here was, so the golf courses are trying to get around the non-essential clause that was instituted. So they're going to add some stipulations to say maybe only 2 players per tee box. They can't ride on the same cart. So they're adding a lot of restrictions in order to allow people to golf, and the golf course is open, even though they're deemed non-essential. Do you feel that there's a way bowling centers could go down the same route?
Yes, and no. Yes and no. I mean, if you had your own bowling balls, I mean, I think it's a huge thing, right? I mean, you think about golf, you have your own clubs, your own bowling balls. Right now, I mean, unless you're running a league or just league players come in or somebody has that stuff off the street, it make it real tough on that. But I mean, yeah. but even in golf, I mean, what I've read, and I could be wrong, is they're talking about not even having a cup. They're talking about just having the stick in there, and it's like you can't get the ball in the hole, so you hit the pin and then it counts as it in, from my understanding. So you're not even having the stuff in there. And then I heard like 1 person per cart or whatnot. It honestly, it's worth a shot to try to get something going. But is it? I think the stigma is the hardest thing for bowling right now. I mean, people don't think it's you walk in there and it's going to be, not saying it's going to be a clean place, but they have all these other stigma, like it's a rec center, right? You're going to walk in there, and I think that's the hardest part that I see with it. So
I kind of had this talk with another proprietor about this, and I'm not sure how much he wants us to say, but so All-Star Bowling sells disposable shoe covers for like rental shoes. You just slap them over your outside shoes or gym shoes or whatever, and they're like $2.50 or something like that. So it's almost a shoe rental. Mm-hmm. So you use that, and maybe you hand out bowling balls.
Yeah, but I think I mean, it doesn't transfer through foot sweat, so I think.
Yeah, but you know the stigma, right? A rental shoe is the dirtiest thing, right?
For sure. But
even though you guys clean it, you spray it, like there's obviously measures taken, but it's the stigma, and you got to get around it because the government's just thinking that, right? They're not worried about what it actually is.
The hardest part we're going to face is simply the social distancing aspect. We just don't have the space. I mean, a golf course is endlessly large. And you can be on one side of the course, the other person can be on the other side of the course, and you can yell back and forth. But I mean, are we going to do one person on a lane? And like even still, like if we do one person on a lane, person on lane 7 has to be standing at the back, and person on lane 8 goes up and bowls. Like it'll be literally 1, 3, 5, 7. They all go up at the same time, throw their frame, stand way at the back, and then all the even frames would go up and right. At max, we'd be able to get one person per lane.
Yeah, I don't think it's financially sustainable at all. I don't think that's a real option.
It isn't, no. And then
I agree with it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Kelsey.
I was going to say the social distancing is going to be, I think, the hardest part. And two, with the balls coming back, you touch the balls and they come back, and someone else says the balls are touching. You're technically, unless you're cleaning them every time before someone at the back is cleaning them before they come back to the rack. I mean, it's going to be hard to not spread it or germs. And the problem is too, there's asymptomatic, right? So you can be asymptomatic and have it and pass it. So that's the shitty part. I think it'd be very hard to or figure it out. It would be hard.
Yeah.
I have this burning image in my head before we had been forced to shut down, before our premier Kenny said, about all this stuff going on. It was a Thursday night, and I think it was the last Thursday night we had was half house Kerry and Dex, and one of our teams came in pre-bowled, right? And this is where I'm kind of getting how I feel about it, or how I can see maybe public perception. They had gloves on, they had Lysol containers, and they were wiping the floor, they were wiping the TV, they're wiping the lane. Like they were just freaking out over this, right? And I understand, maybe they're older and they're in that range category they're worried about, but there's only so much you can do and can clean, and I don't think some people are going to be, open to that, right? Understanding, right? I mean, they're Lysoling the approach. I mean, the whole approach, and it's just like, I laughed. I laughed because it was like, okay, I understand, if you want to do the seats or the monitor, we already did it. But if you want to feel safe about that, all the power to you. But yeah, no, it was just crazy. Just I was laughing. It was like, I couldn't believe how bad that was.
A lot of people are stating, like Brian asked in a chat, he said that it's going to change people's thoughts on hygiene and all that stuff. Yeah, it might. But you're going to say, let's say a vaccine comes in 6 months, and then a year after that, do you really think people are still going to be thinking, oh, I should be Lysoling everything? And it's going to go by the wayside.
I don't know, man. I mean, Brian shaved his beard. He shaved everything off this week. So, well, he was one of those
really
guys
looking into it.
Beards are gross. That's why.
You're just jealous you can't grow one yet.
Nah, I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that. Yeah, I'm very okay with that.
I don't know. I think at some point people are going to forget about it, because inherently people are lazy, right?
Yeah. That's why we have an outbreak.
Yeah, inherently they are.
And that out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, as people feel more comfortable, and they're going to go back to being lazy.
I hope it makes people wash their hands more, personally. Will it? I'm not really sure. As soon as they even allow us to go back to normal and we can hug people, I don't even think then they'll wash their hands and they'll forget all about it. So it'll be hard. We'll see.
All these people stating too, like, oh, watch out, I'm going to be hugging everybody after all this is done. I didn't hug you in the beginning. You're not hugging me after.
I've been really struggling lately.
True.
One of my favorite pastimes is just running my hand down someone's face. Or if somebody yawns, the finger straight into the mouth, right? And now I'm like I can't really do that anymore. Is that assault?
It could be, yeah.
It was before too. Hey, Kelsey, in your medical background, what type of a time frame are we looking for a vaccine in your thought process?
I think actually it's going to be a bit. They can't really expedite. It's like drug trials, right? It takes years for drug trials, to be honest with you. Whether they'll speed it up because we are in a pandemic is another thing. I mean, again, if people consent to trialing drugs, that's on them, not on the company, right? Because they signed a piece of paper. So legally it's fine. But again, they do have vaccines. You can always expedite it. But again, to find out the true side effects of drugs and everything, it does take time. So I don't know. I mean, 6 months would be generous to say, but who knows? I don't think by September they'll have a vaccine, to be honest. But I mean, if they did, that'd be amazing. Mm-hmm. But just medical wise and drug testing, it takes like literally years for these drugs to be okayed and to be put through. And then again, you have to have all the stuff to reproduce it in a big quantity. So again, you have to prioritize for all over the world as well, right? So it's hard. I don't know what they'll do. I don't think it will be anytime soon, but there's wishful thinking.
That's fair.
Just wish after the SARS epidemic, they would have just stuck to it and produced a vaccine for that. And then it might have been a little bit quicker after, but when there isn't money in it anymore, I guess that's the way companies think, and don't lose money that way, right?
The other thing is too, again, influenza. We have vaccines for influenza and people don't get it. So are people going to actually get the vaccine for COVID? Don't know. Probably not, honestly.
If you're from Seattle, probably not.
Well, I mean, Kels, would there be a point if, let's say, all those people that got COVID, is there shouldn't be any point for them to take the vaccine after, right? Because they already built the antibodies.
Yeah, because you already had antibodies built to it.
So I guess it really depends on how many people end up actually getting it. Really.
Yeah, and like I said, it would go to the high-risk population first. So it would go to the elderly, the immunocompromised, and it would go to all those people first. And or if they're going to test it, they'd have to test it on people that already have it. And are their symptoms changing? Are they getting better with it, or are they getting worse? Right? So you have to test it on someone that has COVID because you have to see if they'll fight against it as well. Right. So there's so many trials and tests and like they have to do. It's not easy to just figure out a vaccine and test it. Like there's a lot of things that have to go play into consideration. So yeah, again, like you said, if you have it, you already built up antibodies technically. And if you beat it, you don't need to.
Yeah.
You don't need the vaccine.
I just want to point out our chat is turning into a conspiracy theory. Just slow down, guys. I'm sure the Chinese weren't trying to wipe us out. But you could be right.
Russia's numbers are not right.
No, actually, look at Russia's numbers. They're catching up to us real quick. All of a sudden, they're getting like 3,000 to 4,000 a day. So, yeah, they're not getting those piddly 100 people a day thing anymore.
I'm sure those numbers are accurate.
Again, we haven't hit peak, so those numbers will change. Our peak isn't going to happen until like mid-May, they're saying now, beginning of May. So
yeah,
we'll see how our numbers look after that.
Yeah, that's because we're doing the social distancing, right? The peak would have been earlier if we didn't, but we'd also have way more dead. So I mean, there's that.
I think it's the Netherlands that is just letting it go, right? They're not closing any doors.
Sweden,
and
Sweden too,
yeah. But I think now they have a bit of restrictions now because their healthcare system is bombarded now. Yeah. But that's what we're trying to not have is a bombarded healthcare system because there's only so many beds and so many ventilators and there's only so much equipment and staff that can actually help and or skilled to help. So that's what they're trying to, the flattening the curve. So
right. I guess we'll see whose economies bounce back first. Sweden's are
exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess what do you guys miss most about not bowling?
The social aspect.
Social for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, miss making fun of all you to your face. It's hard. It's really hard.
But now you've got Brad's beard to make fun of every day, so you should be fine.
No, stop it. No, I'm going to shave it really funny, and then he has to just, there you go.
You're going to shave it really funny.
He's going to text you first.
He already sent me a picture.
Of course you did.
He'll shave it funny, and he'll keep it, and then he'll be more mad. I definitely miss the people.
Actually, it wouldn't embarrass miss me.
Really?
Yeah.
No, you're probably right.
No. No.
I miss Thursday nights, Carrie. I miss Thursday nights. I think that's the biggest thing right now. Is I really miss just trash talking you guys and making fun of your unclutchness.
I think you just missed the chance that you can't beat Katie now, and she clutched up and
She didn't clutch
you
up.
in the towel.
She had a 25-game handicap, and their season got cut a quarter short. That is a significant. Yeah, no.
I agree. I think league champs should be transferred to next year too, and we should play for 2-year league champs.
Yep.
I don't bowl league, so
Yeah.
Oh, look at you,
I-
Bruce Mortar.
right.
You
I'm just
suck.
kidding. I got time for it. I ain't gonna pay someone to spare for me for more than half a year.
Mhm.
That's
Right.
fair.
I guess what the thing I miss about bowling the most is not actually bowling. You're right, is the people. It's just social interaction, like, and not having like you have to be 6 feet away or whatever it is, and all other crap. Right? It's you just miss having people around, and I guess you appreciate just the bullshit we have on each of the teams, or when you talk to people, and yeah, it's just it's I never would have thought the last day of Masters would be our last get together. Really, right? I mean,
Yeah.
just crazy to think about it. I don't know if that'll ever happen again. I mean, I'm sure it will, but it just it just people are gonna get stir crazy real soon, and I think it's gonna be crazy. I don't know. I think that's what I miss more about bowling, I guess.
So we might as well expand on this a little bit. So Tim and Dexter, you guys have an escape plan if the bowling center doesn't get back? Are you guys gonna go to school or?
I'm not worried about me. I'll find something.
Tim, you gonna get your learners?
You know what, Kelsey? I'm gonna ignore that comment. My $5 handy, like I offered, nobody hit me up on that either.
What?
So I'm really
Unreal.
struggling right now.
It's hard to sell that when we're trying to avoid spit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Body fluids, Tim.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It was just meant as a joke, more rhetorical than anything, because I'm thinking bowling centers will be open in a few short months.
I don't know. Well, you worry about it because it's been a month already. I mean, it's crazy to think about that, right? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Do you think they push EI for everybody for a little longer than what they would have normally?
Well, it's to September, right?
Yeah, but you can only apply for 4 of the 7.
4 of the 7. Yeah.
So I don't know if it continues, they'll change it again. I really they'll have no option, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can always print more money, right? So
Yeah.
the economy just goes. Our Canadian dollar's at what, 64 cents right now?
Oh God, yeah.
We can push it to a quarter.
It's above gas, so that's fine.
Keep printing. Oh man. So there's a few comments on here.
Luke, Tim
Here's
would still
hoping-
go broke. And I also actually, Luke said sperm bank donor, Tim. Yeah, no one's taking that, and you don't get paid in Canada. You don't get paid in Canada to do that. I looked it up
Dexter
this
already
week.
checked
I
it,
did.
yeah.
I did. I actually looked it up this week. So
You would.
there is no supplementary income that way, guys.
Get rich quick schemes.
Yeah. Well, everyone's got to have a hobby, Adam.
Everybody watch out for those pyramid schemes going around, and I'm sure they're hitting everybody they can right now too, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know how many spam emails gotten over the last week of all this stuff going on. People listening, if CRA phones you and they say you owe them money, hang up the phone and phone CRA yourself and find out. Just don't continue talking to them.
Exactly.
No.
CRA is taking 8 million phone calls a day. They do not have time to call somebody. Also, a Nigerian prince is not coming to Canada. So,
But he really wants to buy that horse that you were trying to sell.
yeah.
Unreal. Any other topics you guys want to talk about? I know we kind of fleshed out COVID here and we figured out the world's problems. So,
what has everybody been doing during COVID? Like, what's your favorite activity out there? I don't know what I've been doing. You guys been doing?
Not $5 handies, eh?
That's good.
I have an idea.
Do
what
you
you've been-
do you pay yourself $5?
He probably does.
That's why I'm
he's
half. That's why
broke.
I'm half blind. Yeah.
No,
He's got his own
I'm
swear
not gonna
jar.
go there. No.
Yeah. Man,
I've been potty training, guys.
Oh yeah.
Excellent. I'm proud of
How's
you.
that
Getting
going?
really good. Not me.
And you're on the
Stop
big
it.
potty now?
Yeah, I am. I'm proud of you.
Yes. I don't know. I'm still working, so
Yeah, me too.
it's yeah. For me, I'm in the office alternating days, so we're classified essential service, so they're limiting numbers in the office. So I'm still really busy. My son's going a little stir crazy. Goes from 5 or 6 days a week in soccer to 0. And so that's been a challenging thing. And now I'm a part-time teacher, so
Yeah.
it's it's been interesting from a family standpoint. Looks like spring might finally be hitting this week, so hopefully that snow in the backyard goes away, so Brax can get outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just ordered a patio heater to install on my patio so that I can sit out there more. Just little projects. We've been doing lots of stuff around the lanes, painting. We fixed up all the flooring from where our old score stands used to be, so that's all patched up and done. And we're getting through things really quick. And we have no idea when this is going to be done, so pretty soon I'm just going to be
No.
throwing 40 games a day. So my right arm's going to be buff and the rest of me will not be.
It'll be bowling, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, bowling.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm still working. Haven't really been doing anything. I know a lot of these guys are doing playing video games and stuff over the internet. Hearing lots of that stuff going on. I know we did Jackbox a couple times, and I think people are still trying to stay connected in that sort of fashion. I think that's the main reason why I pushed to have this live, so we can have interaction with the chat and stuff like that, because I'm sure a lot of people are missing that social aspect. So hopefully people are enjoying this live stuff. But
Yeah, we played Mario Kart Friday night and Saturday night with us and Wisty and Danny Bear and Sarah and Mark and Jen and those guys, and we were drinking and playing Mario Kart on Zoom until like 2 a.m. both nights, and it was absolutely hilarious and great. So yeah, just finding ways to see people face to face and interact, and yeah, it's good.
anything else?
Well, shall we do
Come on.
Kelsey's special guest questions?
Guess?
Oh,
Sure,
do
we might
have
as well
to?
hit that. Oh, of course. Everybody wants to know.
I don't think so.
Who was your bowling mentor growing up, Kels?
Well, I'm from Prince George, BC. So we had, I think when I was bowling, my mom, of course, was my coach for my whole career. So I looked up to her, but also there was Kim Chadwick and Pat Pinko that we had a few names to look up to.
Yeah, for sure.
Kim
Big
was
time.
and is phenomenal,
Yeah.
and such an
Mhm.
awesome person too.
I agree.
So do you have a favorite tournament?
I really like, our tournaments. The cash tournaments are awesome, and Masters, I have to say. I've kind of, I haven't done the Open in a few years just because of work. So I have to say I love the cash tournaments. It's hard. They're hard. And so is Masters. They're challenging, and they definitely bring up your game and especially out of Alberta, it's very hard to make a Masters team.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know what you're saying. The Open is extremely tough. I can't make a Central men's team or mixed team, so the Open is equally tough for me.
I'm speaking for myself, Carrie. Okay.
Yeah, true enough.
Also, I can't bowl the Open because I work it. So
Yeah, well,
Always
I
just
wish-
about Carrie.
I wish I had
Right?
that issue, so I didn't
it's
have
not
to
about you.
hang my head in shame.
Kidding.
Do you have a favorite match or a best match of your career?
I think I'd have to go with a recent one when I bowled against, I think it was Medicine Hat for the Open, actually, against Diane. when I won singles, and our team won as well. That was actually funny story. Bradley corrected my bowling in game 1, and I ended up fixing my bowling and won that day. And then we bowled well the weekend, and our team went as well. So I think I would say that was the best match. It was really good. I mean, Diane's hard. She's hard to beat. So it was a great match.
Singles were good that year.
They were.
Not so much. Not so much.
That's right. They were. Adam, of course, was better than me, so it's fine.
Oh, just Carrie. That's all that matters.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I should have known after I beat Gary Barrett I was doomed.
Thank God you beat Gary Baird.
Yeah. Should have just thrown that match.
Yeah, should have let him beat up on Adam. So
Should have.
what's in your arsenal, Kelsey?
You know, guys that are really, I think they're Paramount balls. Yep.
What do they look like?
They're green and white, and I have soft rolls, but they're very old, very, very old. So don't even ask me the weight, because I don't know. I just bowl with them. They're like 30 years old.
Yeah.
They're my green and white ones.
Yeah, those would be
and then my soft rolls. Yeah. Okay, so I was right.
Yeah.
See,
yeah.
I just bowl. I just show up, and I have soft rolls, purple ones.
Nice.
Yeah, those are questions for Bradley, not for me.
Are they purple and just like the dual color? There's only 2 colors on them.
Yeah, they're purple and white. Yeah.
Okay, so they're missiles.
Yeah. Okay, sure, great.
Just so you know.
And you play in your bare feet, or?
Yeah. Oh no, I have my Nike ones.
Oh.
I moved up in the world and got custom made shoes, you guys. Before they were Storm and Dexter's that I used. So, guys, I'm just really just old school.
Yep. Sure. So, as one of the top ladies on the tour, for sure, what do you think the bowling industry or the WCBT could do to help promote more ladies competing in these events?
I think for some women, I think it comes down to like their moms, right? So their interest now, first, I guess you should say, is their kids. And I know a lot of women don't want to spend the money as well, right? Like if they bowl a shift and they didn't bowl well, they don't really necessarily have the extra funds to bowl another one. But I also think maybe if you did a few more tournaments of women, because when you compete against the guys, a lot of girls, I think, not personally, but they're very intimidated by the men. And it is more so like on the tour, it's men populated, right? You guys are very strong bowlers. So for women to compete against that and to keep putting money into that and trying, I think it's very hard for them. To promote it more, I think more women are doing it, and it's just, I think it comes down to the individual, to be honest with you, and how competitive they are and the mindset. Like there's some weekends I don't even want to bowl 2 shifts just because my mindset's not there. Also, I have Reed lots of the times, and he just wants mom, so it's hard to focus. And I think that's lots of women's problem as well. Not necessarily if you have your kids there or not, but it's just we have other things on our minds, whereas men can tune it out quicker than women. You guys are better at that than us. Okay, I'll admit it. But I also think the highly competitive, I think you're always going to get the same women that are very competitive and always there for the challenge. But I think the ones that aren't quite there yet you're not going to get those ones yet. Does that make sense?
Yep,
For sure.
absolutely.
I think that's one thing that myself personally kind of struggles with to try and get ladies bowling in these events is how do you provide a whole separate event for them when the cash really won't be there for them to win? So that added incentive of the big prize money just isn't there as well. Are they looking at just the competition value or the pot of gold at the end, right? And
they think it's going to be hard. I think it's hard. I think it will be hard anyways to get more women to be on the tour. Yeah, exactly. If you do it, you can't really do another tour, because personally for me, I like competing against the guys. That's just me and my competitiveness. But and there's like some women that of course are like me and have the same mindset as me, but I don't know how you would promote it. I think whatever's happening is already in the right direction to promote it and to keep it going. I don't know if you will get many more women, or like I don't know, to be honest with you. It's just, I think it's harder for women to like I said, it comes down to a lot of factors and work and all that stuff, and we just prioritize things. Like if there's things going on in our lives, we're gonna be like, nah, bowling will always be there. There's next year. We'll do it next year, right? So
little did you know, COVID-19.
Yeah, that's right.
also COVID-19.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelsey, I do have a question for you on this, and it's just a general question. But do you ever feel that like yourself or other ladies aren't we don't accept you guys, or you guys, your sense of belonging is not there? Because I've heard, and I'm not trying to, but I've heard ladies say that before, and I disagree, because I obviously want everybody to play and everybody to participate, but I do hear those comments. And how do you feel about that?
I disagree with those comments. I don't feel like I mean, also I'm a bit of a social butterfly compared to most people, so I think that helps. I think a lot more women are intimidated and more shy, so they're not necessarily just going to go up. But I do think a lot, like even in Regina this year, I bowled with some that I wouldn't normally, like I didn't really bowl with ever, and they're very welcoming for women, and they're very encouraging. And so I think honestly, I don't feel like that. So for people to feel like that, I think they themselves are a bit more shy than the average person. And it comes down to both sides. If you want to talk to people, you also have to instigate it as well.
For sure. Thank you for clarifying. And we did play together. We did picklebacks. I remember that.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah,
too.
it was a
I
great
remember
time.
you changing the rules all the time too. Yeah.
I don't do that.
You let him get away with that,
Okay.
Kelsey?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't think
do
so.
shots like he wanted to, obviously.
Some of us got
He
suckered
tried.
into it.
Yeah, you did actually, didn't you?
Yeah. Little did I know it wasn't actually pickle juice. It was
Yeah, I know. It was bean juice.
Spicy bean juice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just horrible combination.
Actually, no, guys, it wasn't that bad. I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't that bad. But I like apparently bean juice, so it's okay.
So Kelsey, who, I know you talked about your match against Diane, and obviously that would be one of the players you'd want to play against. It doesn't have to be female or male, but who would be a player you want to play against?
Oh shit.
Past or present? Lost ya.
Sorry guys, my thing keeps freezing. It keeps freezing. I don't know why. So I did not hear your last question.
If you were to pick a player that you had one match against, past or present, who would it be?
Like two face. Who would you choose to face?
Oh, that is tough, guys. I don't know.
If you listened to podcast, you would have known this was coming.
You know what, Dexter? I like to do my own thing. I don't evolve around bowling. Okay, I got a life. No, actually, to be honest with you, I think a great match would be my husband. Like if it came down to it, I think we both would show no mercy. No, I think we both would show no mercy, but it would be a great match.
You throttle him.
Well, I could get in his head real good, of course, because I'm highly competitive compared to him.
I think he'd be worried of the aftermath. I think that's what he'd be worried about more than anything.
No, I'm a nice person. You know that, right?
You could play for who babysits Reed for the next few nights.
Well, that's not fair because Reed is a mama suck and I would lose all of that's not a fair play. But heck yeah, I think that, or that would be, or Bakes. Bakes is always a great match. I always have fun again bowling with Bakes. Yep. Or any men, to be honest. Yes, but I do think I'd have to say Bowling Bradley would be a very good match. I would show no mercy. Let's just say that.
Who do you think would
lots
win?
of people would want to watch that.
I think so. I think we could make some money on it.
Who would win, Kelsey?
You'll
It would be
throttle
me,
him.
obviously. It would be me.
Five Pin Universe doesn't condone betting, but if you ever live
Okay,
stream
well,
that, I'm
just so
sure
you
there'll be
know.
lots of betting.
Or domestic violence. We do not condone domestic violence either.
Also, I would win in that as well. So
Oh, yes.
like-
We know.
So there was a question in the chat. Somebody's curious to know your bias on why women don't play tournament masters more. Is it something to do with marketing, intimidation, money, or the amount of weekends you got to play to be on a masters, or what do you think it all entails?
I think it comes down to money, weekends off, jobs, right? For me, even it's hard to do every weekend for masters because I don't have every weekend off and I only have so much vacation and I'm not gonna, no offense, I'm not gonna waste it on a tournament when I have when we do travel for outside, right? We do lots of traveling. So I have to be very choosy with my vacation. That I don't really know. I think too, some of them just automatically think they aren't good enough when they are, but their mindset is set. So I do think some women just naturally don't think they're good enough to be on the team and they don't want to try. But I think that that's wrong because I think if you do try, you'd be surprised at what you can do. But again, that's people's mindsets. If you give yourself a negative, you're going to latch onto that negative instead of push through, right? So
you had kind of mentioned that you do a lot of traveling, and we know obviously Bradley does too. How is Bradley handling the house isolation since he can't be on a cruise or in Vegas high rolling it?
We're supposed to be in Disney World right now, so I think I'm taking it really bad. I was supposed to be having fun in Disney World, and I'm a bit chapped about it. I'm not gonna lie. I think we're having a hard time too because we had a trip planned every month actually. We're a bit crazy. Not necessarily out of Canada, but we were gonna go home to Prince George and visit some other people, and those are all not gonna happen. So I think he's actually not taking it. I think we're both not taking it as well as we would hope to take it, but I do think we're also trying to find positives in it. It's very hard. We're social people. We like to do things. We like to go out and do things, and when you can't, it's very hard, especially on your mind. It's very hard. But
I heard
like
Brad,
I said,
I heard Brad
sorry.
learned how to do bake some cupcakes.
Oh God. Yeah. He is doing lots of baking. I'm very
Good
proud
for
of him.
him.
He's also cooking too. I'm so proud of him. Just
So-
clap for Bradley.
Bradley's really growing during this
Yes.
isolation.
I know. He's going to come out so strong. And you know what else? He's working out with me.
Nice.
He's going to be he's running every day. What is happening?
He's going to be,
Maybe this
he
should have
could
happened a long
bake.
time ago.
He's going to
I
be buff,
know.
and he's going to have a
Yeah.
beautiful beard.
He's going to divorce me.
Yeah, he moved on
Forget
from
the beard.
baking bowling balls to
No.
baking cupcakes. He doesn't need you anymore.
I know.
Triple B.
I know.
That's threat
No,
level.
he'll keep with me. No, he'll stay with me. He likes my pension. It's fine. I'm in.
That's true. Yeah, you're fine.
I think it is hard too because we both like to, do our own thing. And when we have to be stuck in a house, there've been a few more arguments than needed. But hey, that's life.
Yeah.
That's welcome to marriage.
Yeah.
Isolation marriage.
Yeah,
At least that way you can be a little competitive. Hey, I won this argument. You won that argument.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
It's marriage on overdrive for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions for Kelsy?
We'll kind of keep the theme of personal questions. Do you have an obscure kind of personal stat or an achievement that most wouldn't necessarily know about you?
Probably the fact that I bowled my first 400 when I was 13 at a zone final. So that's pretty cool. I was actually mad it wasn't a 300. Yeah. But hey, when you're young, it just doesn't matter.
Right. Bradley's in the chat. When did Brad throw his first 400?
Yeah, that was a while. Yeah. Yeah, when was that?
Poor Brad. Guys, leave him alone.
I still remember that one Autumn Open where he's got 395 and a ball, is yet to throw a 400. Everybody's around, everybody knows, and then rips out a 3-pin.
That would be him. That's us.
Oh,
He's had a few now, but yeah, I don't know when it was. It was
He's-
a few years back now.
Yeah, he's on a roll
Yeah.
now. The 400s are easy.
Watch out. Watch out.
It was ridiculous because I think he had like 17 or 18 398s or something ridiculous before it happened. Like, oh, unreal.
Yeah. He's just laughing about it. It's all good.
I don't even know what they're doing upstairs. They're very quiet. It scares me.
Did Carrie ask you about your bowling bucket list? What's
No.
left on it?
What's left on it? It would be nice to win a cash tournament. That's definitely on there.
You've
Got a little bit of work to do.
You've been close though, right, Kelsey?
Excellent.
What's your highest finish? Second,
Well,
right?
the Autumn was second. Yeah.
Yeah.
And probably would be nice to win, a Masters gold would also be nice. And the Open, I don't have any golds, you guys. They're all silver or bronze.
That's amazing to me that you don't have one.
Right?
Yet.
I know.
That's the
I know.
BC
They're
in you.
crazy. Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Wow.
that's true. That's true.
Is Mike
I was
Warren in the
born
chat?
and raised there.
Poor Mikey.
That poor guy will never get a gold. Yeah. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
How many nationals have you been to, Kelsey?
Oh,
Rough.
I don't know. Are we including YBC?
Sure.
I don't know.
No.
No. But I think 8 to 10, I think. I
Okay.
would say. Yeah. Guess that's all right,
Yeah.
Not a very good percentage of golds.
I know. Hey, shut it down. It's not easy, okay?
Oh man. Well, any more? Are we all good? It has been over an hour, and that's usually our time allotment. Does the chat have any questions?
Luke St. George, will hosting cities for nationals get to host next year since this year's nationals got canceled? No. At least on Masters standpoint, all these things start getting planned out. 2 years in advance. There's already commitments for hotels and whatnot for that. So at least on the Masters standpoint, Edmonton is hosting next year, and we will continue to do so for sure. Tim could probably speak more on the C5 standpoint, if anything were to come up with that, but I imagine it'd be the similar.
Newfoundland's already has stuff ready for next year for 2021 for Open. So I assume, and don't quote me on this because I've been wrong lately a lot apparently. So, I would assume Newfoundland would be hosting it. Whether they put Quebec back in or not, I don't know. I mean, Quebec had it a few years ago because of the, I believe, Manitoba situation going on. They put it there. U Challenge is based off a rotation already, so that's run through C5. So everything like when you make it U Challenge, all your flights get booked through C5. It's through funding and stuff like that. So I think that's irrelevant. I don't think you'll go back to Quebec. I think it's supposed to be in a rotation. I think next year's in Manitoba, as far as I understand. And then for the IP is already set in BC, so in Kelowna, so which would be nice. Now, whether they obviously, if things canceled, I don't know how team wise would work or whatnot, but I don't think locations would be pushed back. I don't think you can do that. Even maybe change the rotation, but that's about it. Yeah.
Tim, there is an important comment in the chat. The chat wants you to move your head to the side. They want to see your picture.
This is Adam.
Oh, man.
Yeah, this is Adam when he wakes up in the morning and before he showers.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what he does at night.
Lucy loves
No, I
clowns.
don't.
Same here, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, Dex, one segment I know a lot of people have been missing is your rulebook corner. What do you have this week?
Nothing. There's no more rules. COVID killed all the rules.
Oh man, make something up.
Fucking COVID.
Yes, our first F-bomb.
That's my hashtag.
You want me to spin the wheel?
I prefer
Make
not.
something up.
Rule
challenge.
number 4, highest league average shall be the best average attained in one of several leagues in which a bowler competes.
Nobody cares about league.
Well, there you go. Nope. There's
The rule for the week, guys.
there you go.
All right. Well, if that's all we got for this week, Kelsey, I'd just like to thank you for joining us and spending an hour and a bit with us, answering our
Yeah.
stupid questions and
You're welcome.
informing us on
Also.
COVID and all that good stuff.
Now I can go eat. You guys, I did pretty good not being hangry. You should be proud of me.
Yeah,
Have a
you did really
Snickers.
good.
Just
Thank
a
you.
little though.
Thank you. Just a little bit, right? Just a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the tip. Just the tip.
That's right.
Might have to
So much,
institute
Kels.
5-pin universe after dark after this.
All right. Thanks,
All right,
Kels.
guys.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Kelsey.
Bye,
Thanks,
guys.
Kelsey. Take care.